Dear students, hello and welcome. Today, the topic for our discussion is intellectually gifted. After going through this lecture, you will be able to understand concept of giftedness, intellectual giftedness, the facets of giftedness, the characteristics of a gifted child, and the educational provisions recommended for the gifted child. There are psychologists, scholars, and thinkers who have adopted their different approaches in defining the term giftedness. Some of them have provided a statistical and operational definition by adopting scores on intelligence and achievement tests. The American psychologist, psychometrician, and author Lewis Madison Terman in 1916 equated giftedness with high intelligent quotient, that is IQ. The famous psychologists like Raymond Cattell, J.P. Guilford, and Louis Leon Thurston argued that intellect cannot be expressed in such a unitary manner and have suggested more multifaceted approaches to intelligence. Researchers like Howard Gardner and Robert Sternberg have supported notions of multiple components to intelligence. Most of the investigators define giftedness in terms of multiple qualities like motivation, high self-concept, and creativity besides IQ. IQ scores are now viewed as inadequate measures of giftedness. Howard Gardner, the propounder of multiple intelligences, proposed in his book Frames of Mind that intellectual giftedness may be present in areas other than the typical intellectual realm. For him, there are 8 intelligences or different areas in which people assimilate or learn about the world around them. These are interpersonal, intrapersonal, linguistic, musical, naturalistic, spatial, visual, bodily kinesthetic, and logical, mathematical. Hence, scholars and researchers declare that giftedness need not be necessarily associated with high performance on some general intelligence test. So, any person who shows outstanding or remarkable performance in other spheres of activity, regardless of his average IQ or lower scholastic achievement, may also be termed as gifted. Psychologists do agree that giftedness consists of an interaction among 3 basic clusters of human traits, which are above average general abilities, high levels of task commitment, and high levels of creativity. Children who manifest such traits require a wide variety of educational opportunities and services that are not ordinarily provided through regular instructional programs. Intellectually giftedness refers to the intellectual ability which is significantly higher than average. Intellectually gifted means a child whose intellectual abilities and potential for achievement are so outstanding that the general curriculum alone is inadequate to appropriately meet the student's educational needs. He shows extraordinary performance in a variety of cognitive areas like abstract reasoning, logical reasoning, memory, etc. The IQ of a gifted child will fall within these ranges. First, mildly gifted, it ranges from 115 to 130 in terms of IQ. Moderately gifted, it ranges from 130 to 145 IQ. Highly gifted, it is 145 to 160. Students, in fact, giftedness cannot be restricted to one's expression in terms of IQ only, but refers to any remarkable performance in other spheres of activities like creativity, art, leadership, or in any specific academic fields, etc. Now, identifying gifted children, that is, to know the characteristics of gifted children. Students, gifted children refer to those children who show high performance capability in areas such as intellectual, creative, artistic, or leadership capacity, or in specific academic fields. In order to fully develop such capabilities of gifted children, they require specialized services or activities which are not ordinarily provided by the normal school. Gifted and talented students exhibit high performance capability in an intellectual, creative, or artistic area, possess an unusual capacity for leadership, or excel in a specific academic field. Gifted students or advanced students learn more quickly, deeply, and broadly than their peers. These students also tend to demonstrate high reasoning ability, creativity, curiosity, a large vocabulary, and an excellent memory. It has been observed that giftedness is not evenly distributed throughout all intellectual spheres. There may be a gifted student excelling in solving logic problems but poor at spelling words. Another may be able to read and write at a far above average level, yet may be having trouble with mathematics. Gifted individuals experience the world differently and hence face unique social and emotional issues. Some researchers are of the opinion that gifted children have greater psychomotor, sensual, imaginative, intellectual, and emotional over excitabilities. Researchers identified many traits that demonstrate intellectual gifted, which include displaying advanced reasoning and creative thinking, resourceful and adaptable, strongly motivated to understand the world, well developed vocabulary, learning concepts quickly, heightened capacity for seeing unusual and diverse relationship among objects, events, and concepts. They are original in thinking and actions. They have a strong sense of justice and morality, displaying leadership skills in various ways, comprehending and using humor beyond their age. Now, students, multiple facets of giftedness, which include intellectual, academic, creative, leadership, and artistic areas. Since gifted and talented students possess different traits and capabilities, identifying them is a complicated process. So far, researchers have identified 6 areas or facets of giftedness and talents. Excellence in one or more of these areas is required for a person to be labeled as gifted. Since there are several different domains of giftedness, teachers should be able to recognize the characteristics of the different domains. The 6 areas of giftedness and talents include general intellectual ability, the specific academic ability, creative ability, leadership ability, visual and performing arts ability, and the last one, that is psychomotor ability. Students, now let us understand the general intellectual ability. General intellectual ability is reflected in extraordinary performance in a variety of cognitive areas such as abstract reasoning, logical reasoning, social awareness, memory, spatial relations, analysis, synthesis and evaluation of information. The existence of a high intellectual ability is not recognized merely on the basis of the student's ability to use an extensive vocabulary. It must also be supported by evidence such as high scores in intelligence tests. Students with intellectual giftedness are abstract thinkers who show enthusiasm and excitement for new ideas. They are faster at learning things and are found to use a large vocabulary. They are the persons who process information in ways different from non-gifted peers. These are the students who easily learn new information in many different academic fields and enjoy the challenge of learning new information. Instruction beyond the general curriculum is recommended to meet the needs of the gifted students. Now students, let us understand the next area of giftedness, that is specific academic aptitude. Specific academic aptitude refers to one's ability to perform at an exceptionally high level in specific academic areas significantly beyond the age, experience or environment of one's chronological peers. Although students with specific academic aptitude are of at least above average intellectual ability, they are extremely capable of high performance in one or a very few related academic areas. Hence, the student need not demonstrate high aptitude in all academic subjects. A student with a high proficiency in one subject, that is 97% or higher percentile rank, may be classified as gifted. Academically gifted students are those students who show enthusiasm for specific interest areas and display advanced comprehension in those areas. These students have exceptional skills in verbal or non-verbal reasoning and good memorization skills. For instance, a student may be quick at having rich information in science class, but an average achiever in English language arts. These students need to be helped to harness their natural passion in one academic area and apply it and develop aptitude in other areas. Now, creative or divergent thinking ability, and you may call it as visual or performing arts ability. Students, creative or divergent thinking ability refers to the ability to perform at an exceptionally high level in creative thinking and divergent approaches to conventional tasks. Creativity involves a student's ability to come up with new ideas, to tolerate ambiguity, to choose complex ideas over simple ones, to develop new meanings of concepts and to enjoy taking risks. Students who belong to this domain of giftedness come up with several unique solutions to problems. They do differ from their peers on the basis of their unusual ideas. They are often challenged by creative tasks. People with creative or divergent thinking ability possess ability to perform at an exceptionally high level in the visual or performing arts. Talents in visual and performing arts are demonstrated in music, painting, drama, etc. Creatively gifted students need to be helped to explore their own unusual ideas. Now, dear students, we are going to understand the psychosocial or leadership abilities. Psychosocial or leadership ability refers to the ability to perform at an exceptionally high level in social skills and interpersonal qualities. In fact, all leaders are not geniuses, but good leaders demonstrate their highly developed interpersonal and social skills. They do have the ability to negotiate, influence, and even dominate others. Students with leadership abilities are usually found as responsible and self-confident individuals. The students with leadership abilities display exceptional organizational skills and can motivate others. These students are well liked by their peers. They are self-confident and hence express themselves well. These students organize the groups they are in and are a good attraction for other students when they are forming their own groups. They have the natural ability to motivate others and build relationships, and this is the very fact that attracts their peers to them. Cooperative learning activities need to be initiated to allow these students to develop these skills. Dear students, now let us understand the psychomotor abilities. Highly developed kinesthetic abilities, as a matter of fact, lead to extraordinary psychomotor abilities. The gifted and talented student who belongs to this category has exceptional mechanical, spatial, and physical skills. Although there are no standardized tests for identifying gifted and talented children in this area, psychomotor abilities can be readily observed. Howard Gardner of Harvard University refers to bodily kinesthetic intelligence in his multiple intelligence theory, concerned with the set of abilities, talents, and skills involving in using one's body to perform skillful and purposeful movements. It requires the skills and dexterity for fine coordinated motor movements. Now, students, let's understand educational provisions meant for the gifted students. Schools should provide special educational programs for gifted students so that they are helped in developing their specific abilities. The dire need is to put them in appropriately challenging environments so that they get opportunities to maximize their potential. Gifted education should focus on three primary components, which include enrichment, acceleration, and advanced curriculum. These students need opportunities to analyze, evaluate, create, and reflect. They should gain experience by asking and investigating complex questions and completing challenging tasks. Now, provision of separate schools, that is, special group approach. This approach suggests separate special schools for gifted students. In order to develop the specific abilities and potentialities of the gifted, it is recommended that separate schools with adequate facilities should be provided. A better arrangement for the gifted of all types can be made in separate institutions where they find opportunities for excelling at their own pace. Adequate facilities should be provided in these schools to help these children in developing their specific abilities and potentialities. Now, next is to provide special teaching methods. Here, we provide you some of the educational provisions that need to be used for gifted children. First, arranging enrichment individual activity which the gifted student can carry out at his own pace. Next, it is using variety of teaching methods, providing reference material, thoughtful questions and home assignments of higher difficulty appropriate for gifted students. Then there is establishing the appropriate higher goals for gifted people and selecting appropriate techniques of teaching. The next one is stimulating individual research for gifted. Then assigning the project which provide more rich experience in order to use potential of the gifted child. We can even provide flexibility in teaching units. Now, students, let us understand the provision of acceleration. The concept of acceleration is generally known as double promotion. Acceleration is considered to be appropriate educational planning, which means matching the level and complexity of the curriculum with the readiness and motivation of the student. According to this plan, the gifted child is either promoted to the next higher grade in mid-session without completing the prescribed full term and is permitted to skip a grade or class at the end of the term. Among the many forms of acceleration are grade skipping, early entrance to kindergarten or college, dual credit courses, etc. Some argue that acceleration can be harmful to students' self-concept. Usually these children find it hard to adjust among children who are senior to them in age. Intellectually, these children are at par with them but lag behind in emotional, social and physical spheres and thus fall victim to adjustment problems. However, research on acceleration has highlighted multiple academic benefits to students and hence recommend it for gifted. Gifted students, when accelerated, are found satisfied with their experience. Highly gifted students benefit from acceleration as they get access to advanced materials, higher level instruction, a faster paced curriculum. Research on acceleration provides evidence that acceleration provides academic and social emotional benefits to gifted students. Now, the next provision for gifted students is enrichment program. In these programs, gifted are not placed in any special class or special school. Rather, They remain in the regular class with average students, but special attention is paid to them in the classroom. These provisions are related to teaching techniques and curricular programs. Hence, it includes the selection and organization of learning experiences and activities appropriate to the child's educate development. Enrichment program aims at providing them a greater variety of experience or tasks at a more advanced level. These additional programs may include special assignment within the syllabus or outside of it, work on independent projects, experimentation and independent work, preparation of reports and participation in panel discussion, independent library reading, visits to the sites to obtain first-hand information, construction of models, aid material and improvised apparatus. Then there is participation in the organization of co-curricular activities, etc. Enrichments include providing differentiated instruction to gifted students to supplement their curriculum. It is considered a horizontal approach because it does not advance a student to a higher grade, rather it adds additional content. This content is usually done by giving assignments that engage higher order thinking levels of Bloom's taxonomy, which include analyzing, evaluating and creating. So, gifted students benefit from assignments requiring them to analyze, evaluate and create, and these skills include in higher order thinking skills, while their classmates may do an assignment on the same topic that require them to remember, understand and apply, which include in lower order thinking skills. Teachers can benefit a gifted child by both the acceleration and enrichment simultaneously. For example, a student can skip a grade and also be introduced to interesting extra material at the new grade level, or a teacher can move to the next unit of study faster than she moves the rest of the class. Also be offered additional activities not related to this unit of study. In fact, the real challenge for a teacher is not simply to choose between acceleration and enrichment, but to observe the student, get to know him or her as a unique individual and offer activities and supports based on that knowledge and understanding. This is in fact the basic challenge of differentiating instruction. Now, grouping strategy. Students, under this strategy, the segregation of gifted children into separate sections within the same school known as ability grouping is suggested to provide extra care. The practice of grouping or placing students with similar abilities together for instruction has been found positively impacting student learning gains. Grouping often is considered as the most effective and efficient means for schools to provide more challenging coursework to gifted. Education actors can use grouping strategies to allow gifted students access to appropriate levels of challenge and complexity. Hence, grouping gifted children together allows for more appropriate, rapid and advanced instruction, which matches the rapidly developing skills and capabilities of gifted students. In this way, this form of grouping will provide an academic or achievement gain to gifted learners. It also provides positive social and emotional gains to the gifted. Now, students, let's understand the next provision for the gifted, that is partial segregation, or you may call it as pull-out program. Partial segregation or pull-out program refers to the strategy in which a gifted child is taken out of his or her regular classroom some hours a week and provided with enrichment activities and instruction among other gifted students. It is important here to mention that these programs are usually content specific, that is, they generally provide enrichment in language, arts, reading or maths. To sum up, we can say that gifted children are really an asset to the society. In fact, these children include the group with high intelligence as well as the ones who may have a special talent or ability. The gifted can be identified by use of psychological tests and other devices like teachers' reports and anecdotal records. Trained teachers of high intelligence, well informed and acquainted with the psychology of the gifted are required to teach the gifted. Special educational programs are required for gifted students so that they are helped in developing their specific abilities. It is recommended to put them in appropriately challenging environment so that they get opportunities for maximizing their potential. Gifted education should include the provisions of enrichment, acceleration and advanced curriculum. Dear students, it was all for today. I hope that you might have understood and enjoyed the session with me. Thanks.